Hi, my name is Afshar Rahman. I'm from Northwestern University. This is the influence of gender roles and norms on the physical activity of South Asian women and girls, a scoping review. South Asians are known to have high levels of cardiovascular disease and diabetes, but low levels of physical activity when we compare them to other ethnic groups. Across all ethnic groups, males tend to have higher levels of physical activity than their female counterparts. So we took this information. We wanted to see if there's any unique gender roles and norms that influence the physical activity levels of South Asian women and girls. And we wanted to see what the current literature says about that. And then we saw that the greatest facilitator across all articles was at the microsystem level. So this is the main, immediate center of influence for individuals. So it was support system. And we saw that adult women, if they had support from their husbands, they were more likely to engage in physical activity. Whereas if, young girls had support from their parents, they were more likely to engage in physical activity. We saw that the greatest barrier to physical activity was at the macro system level, and it was cultural instilled gender roles. So we saw some of the things that individuals were saying was that, in the South Asian culture, women are seen as the lowest priority member of the family unit. So their duty and their responsibility is to the family. So physical activity is not something that they would engage in because it's an individualized behavior rather than something that benefits the family as a whole. Some people even said that physical activity or even exercise is not the Indian way to live, or it's not the Sikh thing to do. Um, some people said that they would engage in physical activity if it connected them to their culture. So they would do, one of the intervention study incorporated Bollywood dance. So they really liked that because it was something that linked back to their own culture, and it was appropriate for them to engage in something that was, linkaged back to their culture. Some people at the meso system level said that, they don't think exercise is important because even though they are someone who is diabetic, they associate being diabetic with dietary um, things, but not with physical activity. Someone else said that, well, when you live in America, you have to engage in exercise because that's the American way to live. So overall, exercise or physical activity was just seen as a Western concept. It was not something that was, a South Asian in the South Asian culture. Some of the factors that should be addressed in order to increase the physical activity of South Asian women girls is that there should be women only sessions. One major thing was modesty. So despite religion, modesty came up all the time. So women were more comfortable in going somewhere where males will not be. So they'd be more likely to engage in physical activity. Language assistance, some people were more comfortable talking in their native tongue rather than in English. Again, modesty with having a private room or private facility. Physical activity should incorporate their culture. So there was different religious dances, different music. So like something that links back to their culture. And if it links back to their culture, it would be appropriate for them and their family would be more likely to support them, which is enhancing social and familial support. And then addressing cultural gender roles. So one individual said that they would engage in physical activity because they need to be fit since they go ahead and take care of their elderly mother. So they would need to be physically active in order to do that. So crafting the gender roles and showing how physical activity can help them and throughout all domains of their life. So some future implications is that currently at Northwestern University, there's a intervention study going on called South Asian Active Together. And this is a mother-daughter study that seeks to educate mother and daughter pairs on how to be physically active in their everyday life. So this study, the SAT study, looks at some of the things that we identified in this scoping review, but there's a lot of work to be done in order to enhance the physical activity levels, especially for adolescent girls, just because there is gaps in the literature when it comes to their physical activity.